It's barely been about 24 hours since account holders actually logged into their Kindle Direct Publishing accounts to discover this message. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you verbatim. We'll go ahead and discuss some of these changes and how some of them are not as bad as you would think. There's a price change. It's not an indication that everything has increased. Believe it or not, there's actually some fine print. And if you read it, you'll see there are some decreases. So let's go ahead and take a look inside my dashboard. When I logged in yesterday, I saw that printing costs will change on June 20th. Let me zoom in so everybody can read this. You currently have books that will earn 0 royalties after printing costs change. While not required, you may choose to update your list prices to avoid a change in royalties. You can update your list prices at any time individually on the pricing tab or until June 19, 2023. You can run a one-time bulk list price update. Now, I've clicked this one briefly, and it does bring up a prompt, and it gives you a couple other prompts before you actually officially do it. On your live paperback and hardcover list prices to continue earning the same royalties after printing cost changes. So that's kind of nice if you want the same royalties, but it might mess up your pricing structure. So chances are very likely I'm going to go through painstakingly between now and the pricing change of June 20th, 2023, and I'll probably just fix those myself. And you're going to see why here in just a second. If you plan to make list price changes individually, download the CSV file to prioritize any books that will earn 0 royalties first. So most likely I'm going to download that, and that's going to be my priority checklist. Now, if you click on this link, it'll go learn about printing cost changes, and you'll see all of the recent cost changes. Let's go ahead and reset this so we can see this a little bit better here. My apologies. All right. So here is the new prices, and here are the old prices. Now, these are the current ones, if you will. If you read the fine print, and let's just zoom in just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, good. So if you look here at paperback specification for black ink with 24 to 108 pages, you will see that on Amazon.com, it's $2.30 as the new price. But if you go over here, the old price was $2.15. So there was really only a 15-cent increase. Like, it is so minor that you're hardly going to miss that, to be honest with you. $2.82 for Canada, it's gone up to $2.99. If we go over here, we say $1.70 in the UK, and over here it's $1.93. So you see that there's some price increases, but if you go through this list, you will see that some have actually changed for the good. So we come down to premium color options, and you will notice that, first of all, it was $3.65. It is now $3.60. This is 5 cents less. Okay, if you don't know how to do your math, you're probably like, thanks, Dale. I appreciate the mathematician whiz over here on the video screens. So over in Canada, it used to be $4.78, or currently is. It's going to be $4.66. So this is another price reduction. So this is a good direction here, folks. I know that the black and white print has increased marginally, but it's not that much. But then when you look over and you see some price reductions, that is great. But over here in the UK, unfortunately, my followers over in UK, it's going to go up by 60 pence altogether. So not terrible. 240 goes up to 303. Okay, we're seeing a little bit higher. But if we look at Japan, 475 versus 475. And if you're just tuning in just right now and you want to follow along, there are some links down inside the description, and I'll show you the old link and I'll show you the new link. The old link, of course, are the current prices until June the 19th, at which point everything is going to convert over to this new system for KDP base print costs. Now, if you're new to this and you're overwhelmed and you're saying, Dale, I don't know what this means. Does this mean I have to pay for it? No. Anytime that you're publishing books through Amazon KDP, it works like this. It's print on demand. So in order to actually recoup the costs for printing the book out and fulfilling that, that is where the base cost comes in, and that is what's being affected right now. Now, keep in mind that these base costs will fluctuate based on the page numbers and the trim sizes, and of course the region. So all of those variables really make a difference. And so if you really want to make your brain blow up, you can always just try to go through and piece through each one of these things one at a time to find out, things like that. Japan, there's no increase whatsoever here. So keep in mind, this is just a fixed base cost. There's usually going to be an additional cost. So for instance, anything that's 42 pages to 828 pages, there is an additional 8-cent charge per page. Same thing, Canada. Let's see what it was before. Okay, so the increase for premium color, it went from 7 cents to 8 cents per page. It went from 9 cents to 10 cents per page over in Canada. So this was something my wife actually had stumbled over this morning, and she was just, hey, she was wondering if this is going to be something that she should be concerned about. And to be honest with you, right now it's good and it's bad. I would say it's just such a marginal change, but it's probably a good idea that you go into your pricing page. That's the third step of the upload process. All you got to do is go into your account, find whatever publication is, go underneath the ellipses and choose the third step. And that's where you're going to choose the pricing. Go into each one of the regions, and you may want to adjust that pricing accordingly. And of course, according to the dashboard, if you go into your dashboard, you will see that message right here, and it will give it to you, or you can download this CSV file and prioritize the books that earn the 0 royalties. And if anything else doesn't need to be messed with, then don't mess with it. To be honest with you, am I going to miss that 15 cents in the US? No, not really, to be honest with you. Now, it might be a little bit different because the base cost obviously fluctuates based on the page count that you have. So again, go into those links, and if you've got any type of book on each one of those ones, you can always try to compare the prices, or just go into your individual book itself, see what that change is going to do and affect that, and then kick it right on up if you need to. I wouldn't advise kicking it back if you've been making some decent sales. So I wanted to pop on here real quick because I noticed that there was a lot of resistance and a lot of people that were scared about this price increase. Let's give KDP where credit is due, because since 2020, a lot of supply and resources have been a lot more expensive, and that started happening in 2020. And you saw companies like Ingramspark. I believe they changed their pricing, and I'm sorry, Ingramspark, if I'm misrepresenting this, but I could swear they changed pricing twice since 2020. Drafted Digital had to increase their print prices. I believe Lulu did at one point. I don't know if Blurb did. I'm pretty sure Barnes & Noble did. So KDP falling in line with all these other ones makes sense. And, I know that right now they're offering, fairly generous royalty and compensation when you're getting 60% minus print fees for distribution of print books. You're reaching Amazon's platform, a massive platform with a lot of just very interested readers, very interested buyers that want content. If you were to compare this to, say, for instance, if you were to list it on your own website, or maybe even like a smaller website, like say Lulu's bookstore or Blurb's bookstore, will you get higher royalties? Yes, but will you get the same traffic or the ability to become more discoverable through a bunch of traffic? Possibly not. That's nothing against Lulu Bookstore or Blurb Bookstore. I'm sure they get organic traffic, but it definitely, and I'm sure we can all agree with this, it definitely pales in comparison to what Amazon offers as far as a hot audience and just motivated buyers, and not to mention recommendations. The recommendations system on Amazon is second to none, barring Kindle Vella. Amazon really does very good at suggesting the right content. I know for me, when I get done reading a specific, horror book, it's really cool that they cue me up with another like science fiction horror or horror book, because they know that that's my reading interest, and that's what I'm into. So yeah, there's a lot of people that are just, feel that this is just unreasonable price change. But I think that if you were to go in and really read the fine print and see how the base costs have actually changed for the good in some areas, understand that not all of it's bad. A lot of the other places, it was just an increase. That was it. Whereas this one has been a price change, a fluctuation of sorts. And it's really kind of nice to see premium and standard color print options dropping in price, making it a bit more affordable. So that way, if we're putting out a picture book and let's just say that, it costs as a base cost, I don't know, $19.99. We're going to end up having to charge like, say, $29.99 in order to actually make any type of profit. And who's going to buy that type of book for that much money? Not many. Yeah, there will be some. I think if you're thinking of, let me get this to where it's pricing that's more reasonable while I can actually be compensated for producing this, then fantastic. You're good to go. So, yeah, I really wanted to kind of just weigh in on this one because I saw on the podcast channel. By the way, if you're not subscribed to me on the podcast channel, just look up the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast. Get subscribed there. I actually talked about this news yesterday, but I didn't go near as granular as I did right now. The reason is I didn't pay attention to a lot of that fine print. I just saw, oh, it's a price increase. It's going to happen. But when my wife actually sat down, opened it up, she saw that there was such a difference based on the color print type, the region, all those type of things, the price per page, that type of thing. It makes a huge difference. If you guys have questions, please load them up right now. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. Drop your questions inside the comments. I'm going to definitely do my best to answer all of you. Of course, go figure. This is right after I just got done releasing a video about Arista Holmes's books. And if you didn't get a chance to watch it, I did put a link inside the description down below for Changeling, where we went and ordered print books of this across every major publisher. Yes, I understand. We didn't get Book Vault. Man, Book Vault's got some raving fans out there. The good news is, folks, we did this project back in March, actually. You'll even hear it in the dates that I share. Back in March, I was only just hearing about Book Vault, and I'd actually put a line out to them. We are actually going to be doing an interview, I believe, if it's not this week, it's next week. And it'll go into my podcast channel, and I want to kind of do an individual piece about Book Vault since it is relatively new to the game. Other avenues that we missed were StreetLib, let's see here, Publish Drive, and Tableau. BookBaby, I'm just not going to do. That's too much of a big upfront price to eat. If BookBaby was willing to do something that would include a comparison to these other companies, then I'd be willing to go ahead and do a video about that. But did you watch that video? Let me know inside the comments. It kind of makes me kind of go, oh, if I would have just waited a little longer, I probably could have had something that would be a little bit more evergreen. But it is what it is. I guess I'll just adjust the upcoming videos in this 4-part video series for sure. I want my 25 cents. Yeah, it's totally fine. If you're joking, fantastic. I'm laughing with you. If you're being 100% serious, I'm sorry to hear that 25 cents makes that much of a difference in your business. But if it does, I'm not going to, take anything away from that because that's food off of your table. To me, it's just such a decrease in price that it's not going to affect me whatsoever. I think about from a standpoint of being a nonfiction author, though, too. Fiction authors, it's going to be a little harder to justify because it's not like you can pump somebody into your sales funnel or anything else like that. Yeah, you can get somebody onto your email list, but trying to make up that loss of 25 cents can add up after a while. So, yeah, I'm joking. Okay, good. You got to put an LOL after that, man. I was thinking, I'm like, wait a second. There's an angry face after that. KDP, potential for a potential place for my book. So horrible things are going to happen. Lepus, no, it's not horrible at all. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to come on live was just to kind of dispel any type of any apprehension or any type of just bad feelings about this. It is inevitable. Inflation happens, and I've been on this platform since 2014, and I honestly don't remember, and I could be wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't ever remember them doing price increases like this before. If they did, it probably was when I wasn't super nerding out on self-publishing. So that was probably pre-2016. If something happened between now and 2016, I don't recall of it, especially on a scale like this. So have they done a public announcement yet? Have they sent out an email? I haven't seen anything yet. I did talk to the Amazon KDP team, but it was about different things the other day. And I'm not going to blow up their emails when I've got the answers right in front of me. Okay, so Lepus asks, give me just a second here, Lepus. I saw a really good question. Let's see here. Okay, will this effectively adjust the normal pricing for books, aka the expected pricing? This just adjusts the base costs. So let's just say, for instance, you've got a book that is, I don't know, we'll say it's 100 pages long. the base cost is say $3.58. You price it at say $8.99 and you get, I don't know, like $3 to $4 in royalties. I'm just kind of fudging up some numbers here as an example. Well, that base cost of $3.58 might have increased to say $3.72. Based, of course, again, a lot of this pricing increase and decrease is based a lot on the type of book that you're going to be publishing, whether it's black and white, standard color, or premium color, the trim size, and the regions, because each of the regions have different printers set up and different expectations. So maybe some of these printers have actually dropped in price, and so they're reflecting that on those specific regions. In a lot of the regions, though, you will see there's an increase, especially for black and white paperback. This is not surprising. Again, a lot of the platforms did that. So all that to say this is, if you priced your book at say $8.99 and it just increased that much, it just takes away from your profit. It doesn't come out of your own pocket. You never have to pay for that. Famous last words. But as of right now, you're not having to pay for refunds, or you're not having to pay to distribute your books or anything else like that through KDP. Hopefully that's clear. And if you do have questions, please, I'm going to answer all questions. And as soon as the questions stop coming in, I'm going to go ahead and pull the feed here on the live. And I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Again, you can actually get a link to my latest video where I actually talked about comparing various print-on-demand books. So for instance, we've got Barnes & Noble Press. This one's Blurb, which I really like the quality of Blurb. It was just not a great experience. That's all I have to share on that one. Here's KDP, of course, with the beautiful watermark. Here is Drafted Digital. Drafted Digital actually is a really good one. And I believe this might be Ingramspark. There's the Ingramspark one. Oh, hang on. We got one more. I think this one's the Lulu one. Yep. And Lulu. I did a full video on those with the price breakdown, fulfillment, the entire process, and I even rate each one of the platforms based on the type of stuff that they put out there. Blurb was especially harsh at 2 out of 5 stars. It's not any reflection on the quality of print books that they're actually putting out. They're putting out really good quality print books. It's more about the user experience, the selections and flexibility, and just the, I wouldn't call it a lack of transparency. Probably the best way to put it is they're not putting the questions that a lot of self-published authors actually have these days, that are just kind of addressing what they think needs to be addressed. And that's just not a good move on my part. I think that they can probably improve that for sure. In the end, there is a price the market is willing to give for a specific level and quality of the book. Changing royalties or raising certain prices, it does affect the market. It does. It does. Yeah, you know, Lepus, one of the things that we can kind of even consider is, you know, if it's only taking a little bit from our bottom line, so be it. If this is the excuse that you needed to increase the price of your books, then go for it. At this point, I think a lot of people are almost expecting this increase in prices. So, but yeah, you don't want to price yourself out of the market. Still pay attention to the competition or the people that are within your niche and see how they're pricing things. I love the massive surge in competition recently in both ebook and print and audiobooks. Hopefully it will lead to great improvements. Man, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one for sure. For some reason, my chat feature is acting stupid on me. So we're just going to try to do the best with what we have. Amazon's pretty good with keeping prices low. On the other hand, it's been interesting to see Ingramspark and Barnes & Noble. Come on now. Give me just a second. My chat feature is just not working very well here, folks. It's acting wonky. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know how well my chat's going to work on this one. If you guys have questions, please put a Q next to your on your comment, so that way I know it's a question. I know that there's not a terrible lot of people here, but I will do my best. I went ahead and just let KDP do the price adjustment to keep my royalties the same. 3 clicks, and I didn't have to do anything to make the same money for royalties. There we go. Yeah, Shady Arizona, that's just a great point. I mean, you can always adjust that. I'm kind of a stickler on where I put my price points at, and I always like to go just below the dollar. So rather than $14, it'll be $13.99. Rather than doing it $10, I do it at, say, $9.99. I always kind of like that, and I'm afraid if they go through and do that bulk update, it's going to mess up some of those pricing. So I'd rather just go through, and I know it's painstaking, and fix each one of those things. But there's plenty of time between now and June 20th. I mean, an entire month that if I were just to kind of sit down and do a handful of publications a day, I'll be done within a couple of weeks. So not a big deal at all. It was a great video, and you were very fair and unbiased in your ratings. Thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Actually, I got a message from my buddy Kevin Tomlinson over at Drafted Digital, and he was super cool about it. He's like, it was very much a fair assessment, and some of the things that we're 100% aware of and we're working to fix. So that was really cool. He didn't have to say anything like that. Yep. All right. Let me go ahead and click that off. If anybody's got questions, please fire them off. I might have missed yours. I don't see anything right now. I don't think it's a huge issue with how much KDP does for self-publishing authors. I still deem it as the best option if you're publishing with absolutely no money to put in. Yeah. Shady AZ puts it really good. Yeah, it's... You got a lot of really good options out there. Just so you know that if for some reason KDP just doesn't seem like a great fit to you, that's okay. Go try out other ones. But I always tell people, if you're new authors that are getting into the business of self-publishing, the path of least resistance is going to be Kindle Direct Publishing. Why? To me, they offer the most competitive royalties. They have the best reach because they're reaching some of the biggest marketplaces online today through Amazon. And quite frankly, it's free, and all they offer in exchange is revenue share. And, you say, for instance, get 70% of ebook earnings if you price it within their specific price region, and they get 30% revenue share. In instances like print books, you get 60% minus print fees. So that means that there's 40% that goes over to KDP. So, that's not bad. It really isn't. And it's the path of least resistance because, you're going to find 50,000 tutorials online about how to publish books on KDP. Yeah, that's right. There's not even just channels of mine. There's tons of other channels that are great in sharing how to leverage Kindle Direct Publishing. And it is definitely a viable option. Anybody who says to you that it's saturated or it's just not worth it, well, that's fine. That's their opinion. I would say still give it a shot. And if you gave it a shot and said, Dale, this is not for me, that's totally fine. Guess what? There are a million other options. Well, not a million. That's a bit of a hyperbole, but... Oh, my previous comment was that it's been interesting to see initiatives Ingramspark and Barnes & Noble have taken recently. More competition is better for authors. Yes, Gray Owl, I totally agree. Really, don't forget Kobo. Kobo has been stepping it up. They had the Kobo Plus plan expand over into US and UK. I think that's a step in the right direction. Probably in the future launches, I'm really going to be putting a lot more effort into Kobo and library distribution. I won't be using KDP Select for any of my future publications. I just don't see any value in it. And I feel like, if you really want to check out my book, just go to a local library. I'd rather support the local libraries if I'm going to get paid very little. To me, I think getting library distribution is incredible, but that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. If you don't want to have, paid peanuts to get distribution over to libraries or Kindle Unlimited, don't do it. Don't do it. That's simple. All right, here we go. Tony Jacobson said, how did you get to be so cool? Thanks for all this powerful information. Dude, you roped me in on that one, man. You roped me in on that one. I just tried to do my best here, folks. And do I make mistakes from time to time? Yes, I do. This time, at least, I came to the table 100% ready and informed, and I have actually links to everything. I got real ahead of myself when I discussed last week the whole thing with Spotify and Findaway Voices. I was inaccurate in sharing that the percentage was actually 50% and not 80%. That was my mistake, and big shout out to Findaway Voices. Will Dagus, the head of Findaway Voices, reached out to me. He's like, love your enthusiasm, but you're saying the wrong royalty, buddy. It's 50%. And yeah, that was embarrassing. But thank you for the very nice compliment, Tony. I hope that Michigan is treating you well. I saw another question pop up, but it's not showing up here on my radar here. Give me just a second here, folks. I got to hit the refresh. A question: do you recommend price point for paperbacks between 200 and 400 pages? Is it still going to be about the same for standard novel size to not affect your KDP Select placement? For KDP Select, that's ebooks only. This pricing change is affecting just print, from what I understand. So I haven't heard anything about price increases for anything that's ebook related. I do know that Kindle Unlimited increased their price, or they're going to be increased their price $2 more. So instead of $9.99 per month, it's now $11.99 per month. I'm not sure if you're getting the two mixed up right now, but do I have a recommendation price point for paperbacks between 200 and 400 pages? It depends on the niche. You got to look into the niche. What I would say is think about a keyword associated with your niche. Go into Amazon in the bookstore, type in that keyword, pop it up, and see what everybody else is pricing it at. See what the best sellers are doing it at, and try to price yourself within, $1 within range. That's just a general idea. To me, when it comes down to pricing, and this is a great philosophy I got from Nick Thacker. He actually had a video broadcast on his Facebook group, Book Career in a Year, about a couple weeks ago, and he brought up about pricing that pricing isn't one size fits all. It really comes down to you testing it out and seeing what works for you. I've given generalized advice in saying, look at the niche, average it out, price it within $1 of that. But that's just to help you kind of stop, overanalyzing it and just picking a price and going with it. I'd rather you say, Dale, you're wrong, rather than waiting to publish and not getting paid at all. So find out what that price range is going to be that gets you more sales and such. Ask your readers. Your readers are going to be the ones that are going to know best. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take a little bit of experimentation to see what price points work for selling your book. So just don't change it like every other day. That would be crazy. All right. Kobo is my home zone's big digital store. Their own service might work very nice locally as Europe and Canada. Yeah, Kobo's really nice. Too many authors undersell their books. I've seen someone brag about selling 350 books and making $300. Yeah, that's a good point. I weighed 6 books to make 3. I'm sorry, the rest of your statement got cut off, senior. My apologies. Hey, by the way, there is a note inside the pen comments, folks. We are actually starting up the second giveaway for the Midblart ebook and print cover design giveaway. That enter for your chance to get an ebook. Enter for a chance to win an ebook and print book cover design by Midblart. They're worth $150. Go over to dalelinks.com/giveaways. It's inside the pen comment here. If you've got any last minute questions, please fire them off for sure. I'm keeping an eye out here. My chat is acting really goofy today for whatever reason. Okay, question. So I guess the specialistic small book market is one of those where finding the right price isn't going to happen because too few books. That's so true, Lepus. It's just going to come down to maybe discuss this with some readers or other authors in your genre, see what the pricing is. And I'm sure you've probably purchased some books in your niche at some point or another, and see what it feels like. But yeah, it's just going to take experimentation. Anybody who says they have the exact answer for pricing is off. That's why I just said, I just give generalized, a generalized tip in saying, go to the bestseller list, average out the top 20 books, see how much it costs, as an average, and price it within $1. That's just generalized advice. It's really going to come down to experimentation. Heck, I'm always experimenting with my own prices too. If you've got a book you don't care about, play with the prices like crazy and see which works. I did buy some seemingly expensive booklets, but those were specialistic knowledge, very small market. Yeah. Question, how long would it take for someone to update pricing on 1,000 low or no content books that were making 10 cents or less? Great question there. Andy from Easy Graphics, big shout out to you there, buddy. There is actually a one-time bulk list price update. Or what you can do is you can download the CSV file and then go through each one of those 1,000 files. I would say if you got a bunch of the low and no content books, just do the bulk list price update. Get it all kicked up. Let them do it for you. Is it going to be the ideal pricing for each one of those? No, but you have to probably think of it from a perspective is it worth your time to go in and change the pricing? So if you've got, let's say, 1,000 low content books, Does it make sense for you to take time out of your day to go and change those prices if they've sold maybe one book ever, or none for that matter? Changing the pricing is not going to sell your book. Just going to put that out there. Just if it's never sold and you just change the price, no one's going to change your mind. Chances are likely you've got the wrong keywords, so it's not discoverable right. And if you've got the right keywords, maybe you've got the wrong type of cover, or maybe even your book description's off a little bit. But I would recommend for someone that actually has like an overwhelming amount of those things, use the one-time bulk price update, or download the CSV file and prioritize and do it one at a time. Because to me, I'm not going to fool around with a book that hasn't sold anything. If it's a low content book that has done garbage, in fact, I would probably just go and delist the dang thing. It's just taking up, virtual space, and I'll just archive that thing, which I'm sure that's what I'm going to end up doing. Alrighty. I see there's a couple other questions. My apologies, but for whatever reason, everything's going slow. How can I select the best category for my niches? Now, Theo, that comes down to going onto the Kindle store. And what you're going to do is, select any book that you want to. And let's go through this, because I think that this is a great example to help you guys and gals walk through this too as well. What I'll do is I'll go into the Kindle store. I don't know. I'll pick any one of these. It doesn't matter. So for instance, let's say this is a competitor's books. I can always find the categories that I want here. But what you're going to need to do in order to request those ones is you're actually going to have to click on that category. Then on the left-hand side, you'll see where it's at. Now, Whisper Sync for voice is not one we're looking for. So here's where our browse paths are going to be. On the left-hand side, click Kindle eBooks, Kindle Store. Let's say, for instance, that I'm in health, fitness, and dieting. And let's say it's just an exercise book. And I don't know, it's weight training. There we go. So on the left-hand side, we've created what's called a browse path. That's the category, and this is kind of the description of that category. Don't make the mistake of requesting for a category like this through KDP. What you're going to want to do is give them from Kindle eBooks, health, fitness, and dieting, exercise and fitness, and then weight training. So you see how it breaks down to each one of those? That's what you're going to end up requesting. So it's going to look something like, for instance, let me open up. So this browse path that I just pulled up, I would end up requesting Kindle eBooks, health, fitness, and dieting, exercise and fitness, and weight training. So this is the browse path. Yes, the name of the browse path is weight training, but when you request it, you're going to want to request for something like that. You're allowed to have upwards of, why don't we just leave that open just in case? You're allowed to have upwards of 10 browse paths, but I would say just be choosy. Pick the 3 best ones you can. Really, when you look at that category, you go, that's my book. You just want to really be very focused. In the past, I've said, hey, look, 10 categories, fantastic. Now I'm just saying, focus. Get yourself into 3 specific browse paths that make the most sense for your book. Now, any of you that are confused probably say, okay, Dale, I can only pick 2 inside my dashboard. That is true. Right now, they're getting you to pick BISAC, which is an international standard of categorization between US and UK. And what Amazon does from that point, based on the keywords you utilize, as well as the BISAC that you select, they're going to pop you into those ones. Now, is it always correct? No. And that's why you're going to want to go and check those from time to time. To check the specific categories, you can always ask inside the Contact Us feature inside the KDP dashboard. Just scroll to the bottom, hit Contact Us. The rest is intuitive. But let's just say that you don't feel like fooling with that, or maybe you want to kind of spy on your competition. Let's go into bklnk.com. That's booklink.com. And you know what? Let's look at Physiques of Greatness or Physique Secrets. I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to hit that ASIN. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the categories by dropping it in here. And I'm going to see what categories are associated with this particular book. We scroll down, and We can see all of these categories are associated to. Good Lord, that's more than 10. That has to be more than 10. Well, somehow they flew under the radar on that one. All that to say this, though, that's the way you can find your categories. I highly recommend that you just get Publisher Rocket so you're not having to go and do all this extra hard work. I use Publisher Rocket for that reason. dalelinks.com/rocket. I'll drop this into the chat. That is an affiliate link. So that means that if you purchase it, I do get a kickback from that. But if you don't want to give me a kickback, that's fine. Just go visit publisherrocket.com. It's no skin off my back. I don't want to, make you guys feel weird about it. But yeah, so there is a lot of information right there. If there's no last minute questions, I'm just going to kind of look here. Shirtless guy on the cover is a whole niche. Yeah. I refuse to sell my knowledge or entertainment cheap. If they want it, they will pay for it. There you go, senior. Go for it. Wow, Dale, busy stream. Yeah, we got 76 people here. 76 of you guys and gals. Do you got any questions? If not, we're going to go ahead and pull the plug. As a quick reminder, again, we're talking about the KDP print cost changes. It's not all increases, because if you look, links down below, hit the old one and hit the new one, because when you look at the old one, okay, you'll see the pricing difference. And it is mild increase in some instances, mild. So for instance, let's just scroll up here. Amazon.com, $2.30 per book. It's going to be in June 20th. It is right now $2.15 for base fixed cost. Okay. Go through each one of these price points and you'll notice that there is especially when you go into the premium options, you will see that there is a drop in pricing, which that's something they don't bring up. There's a drop in pricing. So in some instances, if you have standard color or premium color books and certain trim sizes as well as certain regions, you might start to see more of a payout from your royalties, which is kind of cool, if I don't mind saying so, because I mean, I'll take it even if it is, 15 cents more. And again, if you take 15 cents away from me, I'm not going to miss it that much, to be honest with you. So, man, 75 of y'all joining in here. Let me know, where are you watching from? Any last minute comments? Otherwise, I'm going to be done bloviating, because I'm right now in the midst of producing a full video about the color options of premium and standard color. And we're going to be comparing KDP, Ingramspark, Lulu, Barnes & Noble, and Blurb. And it's going to be a lot different than the last one. Sure, it's going to be the same structure, but what you're anticipating is going to be a lot different. It was a very interesting little comparison. The upcoming comparisons are going to be about hardcover editions across those 5 ones I'd mentioned, and also hardcover with Dust Jacket, which was going to include Ingramspark, Barnes & Noble Press, Lulu, and Blurb. Those 4 platforms published for that one as well. So there's going to be a full 4-part series. You want to see the first part? Click inside the link inside the description down below. Watching from Nigeria, Nafiu. Hey, awesome. My folks over in Nigeria. I see you guys. I appreciate the support and I appreciate the love and that you guys send on out here, regardless of where you're at in the world. But I do notice you guys in Nigeria tuning in and watching and taking notes. I'm really glad. Hopefully I've helped you out in some capacity. Tony Jacobson put it right. If you're watching, hit that like button for sure. Hit that like button. Don't let Tony down. Today's Tony's birthday. No, it's not Tony's birthday. Actually, I shouldn't be lying like that. Watching from Mexico. Nice. But you know where I really live? No. Oh, yes. You're up in Canada. I'm sorry. I saw the name and it didn't register at first. Of course I know you. Watching from Colombia. Nice. Camilo, big shout out to you, man. Tuned in too late. Oh, well, thank you. Liv, no, you're not too late. But you probably will have to go back and catch a lot of what I was discussing with the price changes. Big summary here. TLDR is you got to read the fine print on the price changes on KDP. They're changing the base price for your print books, but some of it's an increase, some of it's a decrease. You actually have to kind of look, and I've put some links down in the description down below that you can go ahead and compare them. I'm not going to go through and compare each one of those line by line, because we could probably be here for about 2 hours of me sitting here going, okay, here we go. Here's this versus this. It would just be absolutely insane, and I don't think anybody's going to watch that. So watching from, hang on a second, I see you. Got to hop off. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you tuning in, buddy. Watching from the Mid-Coast region of Maine. Melissa. Glad you tuned in, Melissa. I really would love to come up and see. I would love. don't want to make it seem weird here, Melissa. I'm not going to come up to see you, but I would love to come up and see Maine one of these days. It's beautiful. Watching from Missouri. There we go. My boy. Yes, awesome. Thank you for the recap. Yes, you got it. You know what? I'm not going to over-welcome my stay here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you got questions, concerns, comments, go ahead and drop them inside here. Thank you so much for tuning in live. And again, okay, it's really not too big of a deal, okay? Take a nice deep breath. You've got to change some of the pricing. Inflation happens. KDP finally caught up with the rest of the other print-on-demand distributors, but they're also making up for it in some other avenues because it's not all bad. It's actually some good. All right, folks, take care of yourselves. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Special shout out to my channel members for both the podcast channel and the main channel. Without your support, some projects we do at Self-Publishing with Dale would be much harder to fund. If you want to contribute to the cause, visit dalelinks.com/memberships for details and get your on-screen shout out at the end of each broadcast. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I'll see you soon.